Protests against tourists are spreading through Europe. Workers here at the Louvre Museum, of course, that's in Paris, they went on strike yesterday, leaving thousands of visitors stuck in lines. I can't think of a worse nightmare. And take a look at this. We're showing you Barcelona now. Locals there squirting water guns at tourists over the weekend. They worry that visitors are driving up housing costs. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay. He is in Rome and can explain. Chris, good morning to you. What exactly is fueling these protests? Because tourists aren't driving up housing costs, or perhaps they are in some spots.
Well, actually, they are, Errol. I mean, I should emphasize I'm safe and sound here. No angry squirt gun shooters nearby. But I've certainly been around that anger because in places like Rome, Venice, Florence, Italy, Barcelona, as we've now seen, what happens is there are just so many tourists. They drive up the cost of living, especially of housing, right? I mean, just imagine how much money you can make if you're a landlord or a homeowner, if you turn your home into a short-term rental. Now, people who are from these places can't afford to live there anymore. Bigger cities like Rome tend to do a pretty good job of absorbing that. But think of places like Venice, for instance, these smaller cities which are disappearing before our eyes because the local population simply can't afford to live there anymore. And you lose with it a thriving culture, a thriving population, the history, everything that comes behind it. So it's quite sad.
Yeah, Chris, you make a good point, because when I visited Venice, it seemed like there were more tourists than locals and more people with rentals than people who actually lived there. And I know that international travel spending is expected to rise this year. So give us a fact check on how many people will be traveling abroad and how that's being received by people.
Yeah, it's big business, of course. So in the U.S. alone, the number of American tourists coming just to Europe is expected to spike by about 10% just this year. It's already, when you look at foreign tourism at large, it's supposed to be about $200 billion annually. That's the average. So, add another 20 billion to that number just when you factor in European tourism. And this is a multi-trillion-dollar industry when you look at the entire world. So there's a lot of money behind this, and you can understand why there's an incentive structure in place for even people from those places. If you're from a town like Venice or Rome, you can even make more money just by leaving your own town, by leaving your own house and turning it into an Airbnb and moving to a place less desirable and then living off of the rent you make.
Wow. And then you think, well, what's the point of living in a beautiful place if you have to leave to be able to afford it? Chris, great fact check for us. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.